Good morning, all of you. So today we discuss the requirement engineering. So in the software engineering process cycle, the first and important part of software development that should be the requirement gathering. Now in requirement gathering, there is the most important part. The whatever problems with requirement practices, then requirement engineering tasks. What are the various tasks? So in requirement engineering, we have trouble to understand the requirements that we will do acquire from the customer. So requirement engineering helps to software engineers and software developers to better understand that problem, the nature of problem they are going to work on it. Okay. It includes some tasks or set of tasks to understanding that particular problem or requirement engineering. So we often record the requirements in disorganized manner. When we communicate with the customer, that time customer not going with the correct manner or whatever understanding with the customer, we just only the note down that all the requirements, but it is not on correct or it is not on sequential manner. So it is a disorganized manner. We spend for too little time verifying what we do record. Okay, that means whatever data we have collected, but we cannot give the some sequential stage for that collecting the data. So it will be harmful to our development of cycle also. We allow to change to control us and rather than establish the mechanism to control change. So it's again one important part talking. The most important thing, we fail to establish a solid foundation for the system or software that must user want to build. If you don't understand the correct requirement, that means your software must be the fail. So we have to know the first clear about the requirement, then we can build the good foundation of that particular system. So these are the right some of problems when we consider like software developer argue that building the software is so compelling that we want to jump right in having a clear understanding of what is needed. Things will be clear as we build the software. So project stakeholders will be able to better understand what they need only after the examining of each iteration of software. So that means all that arguments contain the some truth, especially for the small projects take less months to complete. But we big projects we will have to understand that all the requirement practices. Now solution of that system or solution of that problem, if we consider the communication activities and if we having the sequential or systematic requirement design, then we can solve these problems. It allows some engineer to examine like various steps. Okay, so requirement engineering task having the seven tasks: inception, initiation, elaboration, negotiation, specification, validation, requirement management. So some of these tasks may occur in a parallel and all are adapted to the needs of the project. So all strive to define what the customer wants and all serve to establish a solid foundation for the design and construction of software. Okay, so that means when we start off any software engineering process, that time in requirement engineering, you have to understand the first that seven stars. So requirement engineering is carried out through execution of some function and some function that requirement in the engineer occurs in the parallel. So all these seven functions focus on customer needs and care must be taken for satisfying it. So all these functions collectively form the storage base for the software design construction. So we have to, at the time of design and building, the elegant computer software is not satisfy the customer requirement. If requirement analysis is wrong, then design will be wrong. So For that requirement analysis or requirement engineering, we will have to follow that 7 tasks. Now first we will be the inception. The first task will be the inception. Now what is inception? Inception is the beginning, and it is usually said that well-being is a half done. Well-being is half done means start is the when we start start must be the good. That means your half work will be the done. So that type of statement we have given, but it is always problematic for developer that what should be starting point, from where to start. Everyone having the problem regarding that where we will start. So the customer and developer must meet and they decide the overall scope of nature problem statement. Okay, so some here during the inception, the requirement engineering asks some set of questions that will be stabilized, like basic understanding of problem. Okay, the people who wants a solution, we know who wants the solution. Okay, the nature of solution, that is the design. The effectiveness of preliminary communication and collaboration between the customer and developer. Okay, so communication between the collaboration, customer and developer. Okay, so customer and developer are, we must understand their communication, and whatever communication they will doing, that must be the very effective. Okay, so then and then you will succeed for the project because you have to basic understanding of that problem. So through this question, the requirement engineer needs to identify stakeholders, recognize multiple viewpoints, work towards the collaboration, break the ice and initiate the communication. Some set of questions that we are designed for the requirement engineering in Inception. First, who is behind the request for this work? Means who are giving the request, means who want to develop that product. Okay, that should be the your first question. Next is the who will be use the solution. That means your end user. Okay, what who will be using our exact software? It will be the customer, it will be the user, or you can say like your it will be user common people, it will be using for farmer or any other businessman. That should be we have to understand by the this question. So what will be the economic benefit and successful benefit of a successful solution? Means the whatever solution you are giving, that means what will be economical benefit to the customer, that must be the understand. If they don't have they don't having any benefit, then why they will use our software? So that time we have to understand the what is the benefit to the customer, or what is the benefit to us. Okay, is there any another source for solution they use? Okay, next set of questions categorized on the screen. How would you characterize the good output that will be generated by the successful solution? Okay, means whatever your actual output or resultant output or resultant result display, that should be your successful solution. Means your actual output and desired output, that should be the must be the same. Then and then you can call as a successful solution. Now what problems will be this solution address? Means what problems or what solutions overcome that particular situation. Okay, that means they must understand the where the use of that particular function. Okay, and why that problem or why that software will be use the solution that particular problem. So that should be part of this next series of questions. There will be special performance issue or constraint affected on the solution approach. Okay, so these are the some final set of questions. Now final set of question it will be effectiveness of your communication activity. Okay, so I will take one question. Are you right person to answer this question? Are you answer the official? Means where when at the time of requirement gathering, when we communicate with any customer or any user, that time we have to understand if if you are communicate with the particular person, that time is it right person and whatever answer he is giving, that answer must be the authenticated. That answer must be the official answer. So that means then and then you can understand that particular problem solution. Because that one person's problem is not, may not be a all person problem. So we have to focus on that. You cannot develop that particular software for the particular one person. You have to understand the whole community. Okay. So that time we have to consider that question. So are my questions are relevant to the problem that we have? Means whatever communicate with the particular customer or particular user at the time of requirement gathering, that time whatever questions we are asking or whatever communication we will do, that should be related to the problem or something other. So that also the part of your particular question set. So these are the questions set. Asking too many questions. Can anyone else provide the additional information? Should I be the ask you anything else? Okay, so that type of question will be asking in section 2. Now next page is the elicitation. It means to draw out the truth or reply from the anybody. In relation with the requirement engineering, elicitation is a task that helps customer to define what is required. Elicitation must be the customer to define what is required, what is that exact requirement. Because problem of scope, many times customer states unnecessary technical details, but that unnecessary details make us confused to the developer instead of giving clarity of overall system. Means it's giving some other technicals, other system technical details, but what exactly we want to develop, that technical details will be not discussed, or that will be giving a little focus on that requirement. But he is giving other things, other technical details. That time the developer must be the confused and he will not understand the what exactly he wants. So that time initiation task must be the use or him initiation must be defined what is the requirement. Okay, so initiation may be accomplished through the two activities: collaborative requirement gathering and quality functional deployment. So basic guideline of collaborative requirement gathering. So meeting conducted and attended by the both software engineers and customers and other interested stakeholders also. So that should be must be other holders will be part of that meeting, so they will suggest the exact information related to the problem. There are must be the some rules for preparation and participation are to be established. We must know the understand agenda of that particular meeting, which will be cover all the points. Okay, so definition of mechanism. We will know the worksheet, flip charts, and all stickers. Now, goal of this initiation is to identify the problem, purpose of elements of the solution. and it will be specified the preliminary set of solution requirements. Next is the quality function requirement. So quality function deployment, it identifies the type of requirement, normal requirement, expected requirement, exciting requirement. Okay, so some requirement, we have all the requirements which we are listed that should be categorized in the three types, like normal requirement, that requirement which will be objectives and goal of that particular product. Some expected requirements which will be implicit, like your customer would explicitly state on them, which fundamental states of that particular software. So exciting requirement, that will be the extra additional feature that customer expect to do or satisfy when he presents. Okay. So initiation work product, it must be the statement of need and feasibility. You must understand statement of need and feasibility. Bounded the statement of scope for the system product. That's time when we discuss that particular problem, that time the whatever you are listing, that it will be the need and we will check the feasibility of that particular problem. Okay. So list of customers, users and stakeholders who participated in the requirement initiation. Description of system technical environment, a list requirements and domain constraints that apply to each. A set of preliminary usage scenarios that are provided insight into the system or product under the different operations. That must be we develop our one prototype to better define that requirement. Prototype means your basic idea of your basic solution of your particular product. So when we understand the problem, that time we must focus what is need. Okay, what is need, capabilities and limitation of computing environment. What are the capabilities and limitation of particular problem? So understanding the problem domain. So in which domains the problem will be defined. So we have to understand that problem domain also. Specify the requirement, those conflict the customer and user. Okay. So we have to categorize that requirement also, which doing the ambiguity with the customer and user. Okay. Next phase is the elaboration. Now elaboration, it means modify your obtained information. Whatever information you gather, that should be the modified in the concern of corrective manner. The during elaboration, the software engineer takes the information obtained during the inception and initiation and begin to expand and refine it. That means modify that information to the focus for developing refine the technical model, means software function, feature and constraint. Now it's concern of your developer point of view. It is the analysis modeling task. Now use case will be developed, domain class are defined with their particular attribute and relationship. The state machine diagram, it is used to capture the life of an object, and end result will be analysis model that defines the functional and informational behavioral domain of the problem. Okay, that means in elaboration, what will we do? We will do, we will finalize the technical model, what are the functions, what are the features, what are the constraints. Okay, so elaboration is the analysis of modeling actions. That means we are developing the use case. Now these are the some commonly questions answered by the use case. When you develop any use case, that time you have to understand these questions. Now what are that questions? Who is the primary actor? Who is the secondary actor? What is the actor's goal? Particular actors having particular task. So what are the actor's goal? What preconditions should be exist before the scenario begins? Okay, what are the pre-requesting? of that particular scenario. Now, what is scenario? Scenario means your particular functions. Okay, what main task or function are to be performed by the actor? Now, it is the one particular actor task, one particular actor's function. What he will do? He will log in, he will processing, or what he exactly do. That means role and responsibility of that particular actor. Now, what expectation might be considered as a scenario described? That time, what is the purpose of that particular functions or particular scenario for developing? Okay. Now, then interaction, what variation in the actors interaction are possible, means variation for that particular actor for the interaction. So what system information will be actors acquire, produce or change? Okay, so these are the some type of questions. Next is the negotiation. Now negotiation, it must be the part of discussion regarding the financial and other commercial issues. Okay, now why it is called as the negotiation? Because the software engineer reconciles and the conflict between the customer, what customer wants and what can be achieved by giving the limited business resources. That means we have to understand the exact technical and some financial elaboration or financial details with the your business resources. The requirements are ranked by the customer, user, and the stakeholder. The risk is associated with each requirement will be identified and analyzed. That means risk assessment also be done in the negotiation task. The rough gauge of development of efforts are made to use access and impact of each requirement. Now we have to understand in each requirement must be the cost and delivery time. Using a iterative approach, requirements will be eliminated and combined or to be modified each party some measures of satisfaction. That time we must understand in negotiation the customer stakeholder discuss the rank of requirement, decide the priority, decide the risk, and to finalize the project cost and the impact of above issues will be project cost and delivery side. Okay, so that all are the points that must will be defined. Again, I will repeat that negotiation points that must be the rank of requirement to decide priorities, to decide the risk, to finalize the project cost, to impact of above issue on project cost and delivery. Okay. Next is the specification. Now specification task which given the flowchart and algorithm. Now specification is the final work product produced by the requirement engineer. Means whatever your product that will be in the form of your software requirement specification. That is the SRS document that you will be using. We call as the SRS document, software requirement specification. It having some diagrammically structure. It also having some foundation of subsequent software engineering activities. It describes the functional performance of a customer-based system and constraint will be developed. Okay, so it is formalized in informational, functional, and behavioral requirement of proposed software in a both graphical and textual format. Okay, that means specification is considered as the foundation of all subsequent software engineering activities. So we have to understand that the subsequent. So typical contents